Welcome back to another episode of the Cleanse Healing Night podcast, everybody. We are Doc Talk with Dr. Diane Kaiser, board certified doctor of traditional naturopathy. See my cool plaques behind me if you care. Today, we're going to do a part 2 with David Wolfe. This is the solution. So you may have heard David Icke talk, and it's the whole adage of create the problem, then roll out the solution. But we don't really want to abide by the solutions that they tell us, that there's another vaccine coming out or another drug that they're going to roll out. That's not what we're all about here. Of course, we're not against any kind of medical emergencies, but even still, one of my friends recently just went to the hospital because she had a medical emergency and she's now worse because of it. And she had a finger injury. So there are other ways that you guys might be able to heal these things. If your bone's sticking out, obviously, this is not medical advice, but do your own best solution for yourself. But today's episode is called Super Secrets to Succeeding Health Outcomes, Superfoods, Peptides, and Urine Therapy. We're going to start with urine therapy because I want to pop a cherry here. But let's bring on David first for our part 2. The part 1, you guys have already probably seen at this point. We talked about the hantavirus that we called the huntavirus or the Santa Claus virus, and any other crazy things that they're going to roll out. And it's raining ticks and nonsense looshing. Welcome back, David.
Hello, Diane Kaiser. How are you? And by the way, you are one of my favorite doctors ever. And I just want to reiterate that you did save a good friend of mine's life, a gal who works for me off and on for many years. And I want everyone to know that, that was crux. You came through in the clutch. Thank you.
David, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That really touches me. I really appreciate that. And I think it's important too.
People should know. I mean, you imagine you go to whatever, I don't even know what I guess they're called doctors these days, and the drug pushers in North America. That's not a doctor, most of the time. Oof.
No, I don't want to be a drug dealer. Yeah. I remember that day too. She was at her edge. And I think a good doctor, when I practice myself, it's like a good doctor has compassion and empathy because oftentimes we've been there ourselves. And it's like a lot of us have felt alone, and there was people that couldn't help us. I didn't have anybody help me when I was going through my dark times, especially with breast implant illness. And I always think, how can I be the person that I didn't have for others when I was going through the same? So thank you for that, David. I appreciate it. And you can't fly until you know your why, unless I think FLY stands for first love yourself. And that was what episode 1 was all about, because the looshing is the demon out there, the parasite that's truly sucking your blood, the Lyme, the next bird flu, or whatever virus that they're saying is the problem. But really, we have other things that they're trying to distract us from. So you guys go listen to that other episode, because it's distraction wins. That's how they loosh from you. But the reality is the survivors are the ones that are looking down at their hearts and going, how can I stay heart-centered? And how can I give myself what I need so I can truly serve other people? And that's always what my model has been. I can't help other people if I'm not helping myself first. And I often struggle with that. I think we all do, especially as women. But today we're going to talk about something that you turned me on to. Here's my story. 5 years ago, I think it was, during COVID, I didn't know it, but my boyfriend at the time, his mom had gotten the first shot. And I experienced things even before knowing that the clotting issue was a real thing for hundreds of thousands of women. Admittedly, of course, I didn't take the shot, but one night I was laying down. I felt like I was maybe having, I didn't know what it was. It was the worst period of my life. And I got in the bathtub and I didn't know what else to do. I was feeling better from that, but I was clotting out like this size clots.
Oh my God.
Period bleed. I took pictures of it. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And I'm like, what, am I miscarrying? Was I pregnant? What is this? And interestingly, I don't even know how I got to this, David, but I was in my tub listening to you, and I think it was Edward Group talking about urine therapy. And I was like, wait, what is so I thought, okay, I'm going to start slow. I'm going to pee in my hot tub, or my, at the time I was just my tub. I'm going to pee in my tub. Maybe that'll help. Anyway, we'll get into that, but the shedding continued, you guys. I lost my period a year after that, and of course, we're infertile at that point. A lot of women became infertile from the COVID shot, and a lot of people have been talking about using urine therapy for perhaps COVID or whatever, shedding, whatever else it is. So let's just jump into urine therapy. What is it, David, and why is it a thing now, and how can it help us, and what does it look like?
The discovery of urine therapy has been known for 10,000 years. Your body produces its own cure. It's produced in your kidneys and you pee it out, actually. So whatever your body's fighting, there's antibodies that are produced. You pee those out. If you reintroduce them back into your body through drinking, through injection, or through enema, even in bathing is somewhat effective, but not nearly like the other three, you can get basically a homeopathic response that will amplify the particular reaction that your immune system's having in order to target and remove mutated cells, foreign respiratory pathogens, whatever it is. So your urine is actually containing the codes of everything your body is fighting. And when you reintroduce it back in, your body gets another pass at it. It goes, oh, that's the problem. Okay, now we're going to target it that way. That's the discovery of urine therapy. Urine therapy is practiced by all kinds of people all over the world and has been for thousands of years. But the most powerful that I've seen is probably aged urine enemas and urine injections. And we did urine injections for 10 years with Dr. Hitt down in Tijuana. That was really something. It got to a point for me because his main protocol, when you walk in there, doesn't matter what your diagnosis is. I mean, unbelievable cases came in there because they've been given up for dead by Western science. And so these people are in a Tijuana clinic, and this is back 2000 to 2010. In that time frame, wasn't the internet like today. People weren't open to such things. So imagine how beaten up you have to be to finally walk in there. So we'd see every case. The first thing is urine injection. Second thing would be inject them with ozone. Third thing would be vitamin mineral push. You know, get some nutrients in there, get some actual zinc in there, get some actual magnesium sulfate in there, get it at their system actually flushed with some good stuff. And then we'd start to work with them. And every single time they would get that when they'd walk in the door, even 10 weeks into treatment, for example, because that's the baseline strategy. Man, was that effective. Wow, was that effective. It was miracles, actually. And again, these are hopeless cases. You know, guys would have brain cancer, throat cancer, lung cancer, everything you could see, crazy stuff. You know, I can't even say it, actually, because it's too gross, and just some of the things that would happen when, you know, people, some of the things that you'd see walk in the door. But Dr. Hitt was all heart, and we'd treat that patient and they'd get better over time. Every week they'd come in, then they'd come in every day. They'd get colonics. We could send them to get colonics. It was incredible, actually, what was happening. And that's how I became aware of urine therapy. And it was the urine injection, actually, right into the fat. It's not an IV thing. You have to get what's called a butyric acid response. It's a vaccine response, actually. And this is actually, the urine injection is actually the real vaccine. Another thing interesting over the years of dealing with this and things I noticed was when some people would have such bad urine that you'd have to centrifuge it. You couldn't inject them with your own urine. It was too thick and gross and filled with all kinds of stuff. So we'd centrifuge it, and the stuff that was at the top of the test tube is what we'd inject them with, which tells me and has told me over the years that the most powerful homeopathic substances are the lightest. They're the smallest. They'll go to the top. The heavier stuff goes to the bottom in a centrifuge. And so that was also an interesting insight that the lightest fraction of your urine is where the most powerful homeopathic remedy is.
Okay. So I was pushed over the edge and convinced. You planted the seed, and I love our membership group and the patients and the members that work with us because they're open-minded like us. And there was that urine therapy summit recently. And were you in that, David?
I was. At the last second, they put me in there, as I'm an old timer with this stuff. I mean, I was involved, you know, injecting people with urine year 2000, but I was into it 10 years before that even.
Wow, 3 decades. Okay. So you guys, there's actual proof on this stuff. And so I of course, I take a scientific approach to this, but the right kind of science, but some of we're programmed that Scientology, you know, is the thing, Fauciism. But look at this. This is just one example of many. What does the top say up there, Paula? I want you guys to see, this is a PubMed article. It came from the Pan-African Medical Journal. And what they're saying, the golden fountain is urine, the miracle drug no one told you about. And this was published in 2010. So that's 16 years ago. David's been talking about it for even before the 2000s, but they're talking about drinking or local application of human or animal urine. I don't know about the animal part, but I know there are pets that are benefiting from it too, drinking their own urine, but for medicinal purposes. It's been practiced all over the world for millennia. Back in Egyptian era, I hear, and even people, and it's got a name too. So we will get into that. It's something that they've been practicing in India.
Shivambu.
Shivambu, exactly. So it came from Shiva. And so people are, oh, well, that's not very Christian of you to talk about. Well, I don't really subscribe to any specific religion. I keep myself an open mind. But this is what happened. You can stop sharing. Thank you, Paula. There's 100,000 hits for urine therapy, as that article is stating. So people are very curious about it. What if the true healer is ourselves, is our own golden waters? And it may sound gross and you might be repulsed, but so was I the first time I heard it. And actually what turned me off about it, David, was not you or group, but a lot of the people who were sharing about it, like the influencers. They feel very much like cavemen, and the way that they present themselves is a bit off. And there are people who are talking about it who don't look that healthy. So I thought, well, is there a woman who's talking about this? So I saw Amanda Vollmer was talking about it, and other people who are actually testing these things behind closed doors so that we could actually show and prove the data for people who have, yes, the program mind, that we need to see the data. If there's no clinical studies, it probably won't be. But I see a lot of women talking about this too. So admittedly, about a month ago, because my friend Siren told me, speaking of the part one we did, he had Lyme disease. He was dying. He was on his deathbed. And he actually came across urine therapy and started drinking his own urine. And he had a massive, massive turnaround of his health. He was somebody who I knew for 10, 15 years. He was trying everything, Western, Eastern, didn't matter. So he finally got to the point where he's like, I'm desperate, like the person you were talking about. And it changed him. And so I heard his stories. He's very intelligent. He uses spooky Rife technology. He's very, very smart. And he's a totally different person now. The first time I drank my own urine, I added out of 4 parts, it was about a fourth of it was pineapple juice, and out of 3/4 was my own urine. And I had the most beautiful dreams. It was kind of like a shamanistic ayahuasca experience, but they were beautiful. And I thought there's something to this. So what is a great place to start for people who really, really need to hear a bit more about what they can do, David?
I wanted to mention that aside from the homeopathic factors in your urine, there's incredible amounts of stem cells. There's also incredible
Yes.
amounts of enzymes, including urokinase, which is a declotting enzyme, the most powerful declotting enzyme there is. So that's one of the reasons why if you have clotting or if you had the clot shot, you definitely want to use your own urine. There's different ways to imbibe urine too, which is important, which is drinking it is one way, which is not my preferred way at all. And I've been at this for over 30 years.
Mhm.
I like the urine enema, especially the aged urine enema. So basically like if I'm fasting, and I'm fasting right now, I'm just second day into a fast. Once I get a few more days into it, then I'm pretty cleaned out. Then I'm going to start capturing my own urine and putting it into the enema bag and putting it back in that way. That there's an amazing thing that urea does. Urea heals skin on contact, both the external skin and the internal environment, like your gut environment. This is another very important reason why urine therapy is important for people with IBS or long history of digestive problems or colon problems. Very important. But you can get that urea in up the other way, obviously through an enema. Now, when you do the aged urine enema, what was found, I think I'm trying to think of the university right out of the Midwest of the U.S., like in Wyoming, University of Wyoming, I think they did a study and they found out that in 2 to 3 weeks, your stem cells multiply into the millions and then tens of millions. And so if you age your urine, I do that in a mason jar, basically like a mason jar like this. And I'll take that mason jar, fill it up, and leave it on the windowsill right here. And then after 2 weeks, it's fermented enough. Then I start doing a shot in with the normal enema, which is usually like warm salt water or something. I'll put a shot and then 2 shots and then ramp it up. That way you can absorb your own multiplied stem cells into your body. Now I have gotten stem cells from myself before that have been multiplied out of my body, through the typical way it's done today, which is they extract your stem cells from your fat, they multiply it after it's been frozen. You say, I'm coming in a week or 3 weeks, and they'll unfreeze it, then multiply it, then put that into you through an IV. I've compared that to the aged urine enema and the feeling you get. It's very similar,
Right.
very similar.
Really?
So surprisingly similar, actually. So I was kind of like, whoa. Now I will say this about the urine enema. That's a great place to start because you're not eating it. If you can do an enema, and do it with your own urine in it. It doesn't have to be 100% of what's in there. It could be 5%, could be 10%, could be 50%.
Aha, kind of like how we add like 2 tablespoons of green coffee when you're brewing it and getting it ready, and then you filter the coffee grinds out. It sounds like that, like kind of. Okay, so I have to ask some questions because I know people listening. I mean, okay, hear this. When I started, everybody wants to be more beautiful, right? Especially women who are following me. We're all about beauty and other things, of course. We want to feel beautiful too, like the energy of beauty and abundance and vitality and nourishing vibrancy, right? So when I started hearing that the supermodel's secrets and like Madonna's secret was they were drinking their own urine as well as, you know, I've tried it before when I was shampooing, not shampooing, but basically washing my hair with my own urine and applying it on my face because the urea is one of the number one ingredients to beauty products. That's how I started before I drank it. And I had to work myself up to it. And I drank it. And I was like, well, it's really not that bad. But the questions that I started getting and that I had myself, David, is, of course, we use urine testing to look to see what kind of metabolites are coming out of patients, right? So this is my first question. And I started digging into this. We've got heavy metals coming out in our urine with metabolites. We have environmental toxins, the ones we talked about in part one. We have possible vaccine, whatever contaminants are coming out of that. We have prescription medications, maybe peptides that were not absorbed properly. We've got mold metabolites. We've got a lot of, we're taught that urine is waste, but really it's excess. Can you speak a little bit more to that so that we're not really poisoning ourselves if we're drinking it or doing enemas with it?
Sure. Okay. Well, one thing is for sure is that if you drink more water, you're going to pee more. You'll have more urination. Does that mean you're more toxic, or that you see what I'm saying? Like it's just a water. It's mostly what the kidneys are doing is stabilizing the fluid levels in your body. Will those things show up in your urine? Yeah. So at Dr. Hits, what we always did is you let the first 4 seconds go, capture the midstream of the first clear urination of the day, if possible. That wasn't always possible with patients, but if that wasn't possible and their urine was dark, we would just centrifuge it as I described. So that's kind of how you approach it, is first clear urine midstream. That then inspires you to start drinking more water, actually, because if you're using your urine in this way, you'll realize that most of the toxins are out in the first 4 seconds. And also the morning urine has a lot of used up neurotransmitters in it. So if you drink that, you knock it right back down to put you right back to sleep. So you want to, usually I let those first couple of urines of the day go, and then you start using what happens later in the day after you've been drinking water. And then you're going to get that magical homeopathic quality that your urine has. Now, if you're in a cool place with like coconuts and you drink a lot of coconut water, you could have some urine that's actually like, it's scintillating, actually, in terms of its look and appearance, it's bubbling. It's amazing, actually. So your health of your urine is also a big marker on your health. And so getting in tune with what's happening with your urine is a big step forward in your own health, just from observation and just getting it close to you and using it as an enema or drinking it or using it on your body and your skin. I did puncture my finger right here yesterday, and it was pretty bad. And so basically all day long, every time I went to pee, I just peed right on it. And it's pretty good today. In fact, I think it finally closed up. So maybe we'll do a reveal at the end of the show. We'll see. What do you think?
Cool. I love that. I don't love that you hurt your finger, but I've actually had a lot of people hurting their hands this past week. I'm like, what is this? This is an interesting theme. Okay. So I love that you mentioned that, because I actually have heard more people talk about it. The best urine collection to drink is your first morning. And you let
not my experience.
Yeah. How come? Tell us more about that.
Because it has too many used up neurotransmitters in it. It'll knock you right back out. That's a novice. A person saying that is a novice. They haven't been doing it for years and years and years. And eventually you start to realize, like, for example, you're drowsy while you're driving, drink a bunch of water, pee, walk around the car a couple of times, then get back in the car and go, and you'll find you're awake again. And you're like, whoa, there's a relationship between what's going on in your blood and your urine and your just level of drowsiness or sleepiness. Definitely. And so if you drink a lot of water and you flush your system out, those used up neurotransmitters, suddenly you go, oh, I'm awake now. That's generally what I recommend, is get the more clear urine midstream that comes the second urine of the day, third urine of the day, or down the road during the day, preferably when you've been fasting the longest. Also, I will say this, what you're drinking is like, let me show you what we're drinking over here. What we're drinking are these mushrooms right here in tea. Yes. These are all the mushrooms from that forest over there, that great forest right out that window over there. And
Oh.
Chagas and Fomes fomentarius and Phelinus ignarius and all and reishi. There's a reishi right there in the back. You can see that dark one there. And so this is, I'm drinking this, the whole time I'm up here. There's a reishi. And what ends up happening is once you're filled up with this stuff and you start putting these immunological compounds into your body, then I guarantee you when you return that back into your body, watch out, because you're only getting a certain amount through the first pass. But when you get it back in again, see, your diet may have no medicinal compounds in it.
Mm.
Mine is all medicinal compounds. And when I recycle those medicinal compounds in, because they've already gone through my body's already modulated them to some degree, and it gets another chance at it, you get more complete usage.
This, because I've been talking about this for years, like probably 15 years ago when I first started getting into lab testing and really looking at the patterns. I said, there's no way that in the next 15 years, people will not have some degree of autoimmune disease. I mean, because, and then also seeing that people were struggling in the stool test and looking at, well, what kind of enzymes, kind of bile, what kind of stomach acid, what is the degree of production of all of those things? You're only absorbing your food and nutrients and supplements to the degree that you have the ability to absorb. And a lot of people have major issues in the gut that I'm like, well, gosh, they're probably eating really good food, but then they're peeing it out or pooping it out. So this is like a second, I loved hearing that. Like, it's like a second chance almost, that whole concept. So what if people are eating really shitty diets though, David, or if they are taking 5 medications a day or are, took the COVID jabs? Is urine therapy dangerous then for them to drink?
It's good. Well, it's necessary if you've been jabbed because it's anti-clotting. Your urine is a very powerful anti-clotting agent. Most of the toxins in your urine are going to go out in the first 4 seconds. So again, it's a midstream thing. If you feel concerned about that, just drink 2 or 3 times more water. You get more urine out of your body and you'll have more homeopathic principle working for you in your favor. So that's my response to that. Now, if you don't want to drink it, no problem. Do an enema. Perfectly fine as an enema. If you're worried about getting intoxicated by your urine, do it as an enema. It's already down there. It's going to be out pretty soon anyway. You know what I'm saying? So also your body has an intelligence about the toxins that you're being exposed to, and it's trying to wrap them up. It's trying to chelate them. It's trying to methylate them and get them out. And it might have gotten halfway through the job. You get it back in again and your body goes, okay, now we got it. We know how to do this. You're increasing your biofeedback intelligence. It's a biofeedback phenomenon. It's a homeopathic intelligence. By the way, this homeopathic property is one of the big targets of whatever the people running the world, New World Order people, whatever. They really, really hate, they despise, in fact, the homeopathic principle, which tells us this is a very, very important principle for us to be utilizing. It makes it much more evident. Whenever they're going at something a little too hard, you know what I mean? Like I'm a professional in the health business. So are you. They go after homeopathy really intensely. And that has really lit me up. I was like, why that? Why are you going at it so hard? You know what I mean? Like, how they'll tell on themselves. They'll tell on themselves if you just listen to what they're saying. So that tells me that homeopathic healing for your body, which urine is the best and most appropriate. It's perfect for you. You can't get a better homeopathic remedy than your own urine. I mean, you can use it that way too. You could do drops under the tongue, by the way, and that is a legitimate route to use urine. Do 15 drops under the tongue, spread throughout the day. Watch the homeopathic result of that.
Yeah. Or swish your mouth with it too, because I mean, what's really beautiful about this is that I've noticed my pineal gland, my intuition, my nervous system, everything has just gotten to the point where I'm not putting up with the same bullshit, and Paula, our director, she hears my audios during the day where I'm just like, things are becoming a lot easier for me, that it's easier for me to trim the nonsense from my life that is robbing me of my energy. And one of the ones I'll tell you, this blew my mind. I've had a love-hate relationship with coffee most of my adult life. And I have been drinking either no coffee or very little coffee. And when I do drink it, my urine tells me, and my skin shows, it either glows or it's not, or my skin is tighter. So if you ladies are listening to this, if you want less wrinkles and a more collagen plumped up looking face, this has really worked for me. My urine told me, I mean, it wasn't like a voice that said, stop drinking coffee, but it was like, I started craving more of the superfoods, more of the mushrooms, and I felt different. And then the decisions I was making really surprised me. So I used to have something called the metabolic mocha years ago. I've recommended people to get off coffee, and then I started bringing it back. So then I started bringing more mushrooms back, and I felt the difference. I felt tired when I needed to feel tired. I started getting more restorative sleep. And so, David, can you speak to that too? Because I mean, if I'm looking at having a better second chance, I want to give it a better first input as well.
Yeah, see, this is how your own urine will identify to you what the problem is and what the solution is. And so coffee's not right for you. It's disturbing your urine. So you're having a metabolic problem with it. And that this is making you aware of that. I do want to say this. One of the things you can do is you could just, like, let's say you're wanting to, I'll put this up against any cosmetic in the world. Put your own urine in a cup, dab it with your finger and put it right on your lines, right? Put it right on your wrinkles, work it on your face. You'll be amazed. And I mean, amazed. Your own pee right there. Just dip your finger in it, apply, dip your finger in, apply, and watch what happens. I'll put it up against any cosmetic on earth. And it's a wake-up call. And remember, the baby's gestated in their own urine, right? So their whole life, their baby is born into a fluid that's their own urine. It is the best thing for your skin. You cannot come up with something better. It's for you. It's designed for you.
To me, it's such a beautiful experience. And that's what I did not expect, David, because for years and for so many people that have been talking about it, because I didn't see a female presence about it, I just dismissed it as like, oh, those crazy guys that are doing semen retention and they're narcissists and they're doing butthole sunning and all these, like Troy Casey's admittedly one of them. I know him personally, and
I do too. He's the best ever, and he's berserk. Totally.
Yeah, totally berserk. And so when people deliver messages like that, I can't really give it much clout, So I went, wait a minute. And once I saw the females starting to talk about it, I thought, okay, now I'm going to start listening. So it also helps you to listen to your body. People ask me all the time, what peptide do I take to really detox my pineal gland and tune back into it? And I'm like, sure, yeah, Epitalion will do that all day long. But peptides can be expensive. And I do want to talk about peptides, but also if I'm taking peptides and let's say that I don't know what my absorption rate is that day, then I'll give a second pass of it with urine. So for people who are also like, because there's people who've been talking to me as well about like,
and all the things you're injected with, all like, let's say, like, I'm sorry to butt into you, Doctor.
Yeah, no, please do.
Let me tell you what I do. What I do is if I do a long fast, like 13, 14 days on water, then I'll go like on day 13 or day 14 and I'll go get a methylene blue, do the biodynamics, the bio, illumination, strategy of getting the right color on my skin. Then I'll get the peptides. Then I'll get the, like a Myers cocktail of, organic vitamin C and all the things. Yeah. Then I'll do the urine enema at the end of all that.
Wow.
I'm telling you, that kind of stuff, that's where it's at personally. Like so you're way deep into the fast, then you stack it like that. And sometimes I'll even get my own stem cells, like on day 13 or 14 of a fast. Then when you pee, you capture that pee and it goes back in. I'm telling you, that's where it's at. That's, if you want the cutting edge of healing, that is some of the feelings of well-being that are rarely ever probably felt by humans these days, I would say, is where it takes you.
Yes. I want to talk a little bit about the history too, and what you're talking about. Interesting timing, and it's always that way with us, which I love. Is I'm going to get stem cells probably about 50 million in a couple of weeks after I go to La Ventana and La Paz and go swim with the killer whales and the dolphins. It's been my dream forever to go on an ocean safari. So I'm doing that. And then after, I'll be seeing some patients in Tijuana with Dr. Garcia and then doing some stem cells. So I'm going to do this. I'm doing what you're talking about. The whole, because that sounds very advanced to me. I've heard people say that you should drink every drop of your urine, all of it that comes out. So you're saying that maybe that's not a good idea?
I don't ascribe to that idea. I've tried to do it. I tried to do it back in the early days, 30 years ago. Then there was kind of a resurgence back around the year 2000 with it. And I just don't ascribe to that. I mean, some of it's got to be let go. What happens to me if I try to do that is immediately I'll drink it and we'll want to come right back out. It'll be within seconds.
Yes, that happens.
It's like I can't hold it in. There's no way to get there for me because my body won't hold it. Yeah, it's a diuretic. It just come right out within seconds. So the more you do that, the more you'll sense what I'm saying is true. But then eventually you'll get to a point, if you do it long enough, where it's just instantaneous, where your body, you drink it, it's coming out immediately.
Right. So we'll talk more about, because I want to have enough time to really, really go into your superfoods and some peptides. And then what we'll do is, for any of you who are listening, who are part of the VIP group or want to join us, it's $1 for your first 7 days just to test us, try it out, see who the community is. And we're going to do something that we're going to record later on some strategies that you can do on what part of the day to collect. We talked a little bit about it now, but we'll go deeper into that. So join us in the VIP group after this, and you guys can hear more from David and myself diving into the getting started and the best strategies. But let's shift over to superfoods, because that all those beautiful mushrooms, it just does something to me. It's like Smurfs. Talk about Smurfs and Flintstones at the theme of the day. But those mushrooms are gorgeous. And my dog, we just had Dr. Judy Morgan, very famous holistic vet. She's really changing the world into what pets' diets are, getting them off of kibble. Nasty stories about, injuries, taking people into their dogs into the vet. My parents' dog died that way. They gave her 3 vaccines when they went for a procedure, and she died within 3 months after that, a horrible death. So not really, and maybe we could talk a little bit about pets drinking their own urine in the VIP group. Anyway, but the whole superfoods thing, my dog had a lipoma, and she has for a long time. And I thought about having it removed. I opted against it and to move into doing a lot of the mushrooms that you just showed. So would that be your number one superfood that you recommend, David, for people who want to really boost their immune system? Because at this point, we need that more than anything.
I would categorize it, because there's no real calories here. I'd categorize these as super herbs, actually, or herbs. Let me just bring these up here. So each one of these is kind of like part of the pharmacopoeia. And this is what this forest and the forest of Appalachia provide. We're an extension of Appalachia. So this is a white reishi right here. This is an actual reishi mushroom. And these together, when you make a tea out of this, creates a host defense. You can also then take it out of the tea, take these things out, dry them again, and throw them into alcohol. That alcohol fraction is a whole nother fraction. We do all of the above over here. You can see this is a Fomes fomentarius mushroom, delicious flavor, by the way. And when you throw these into a tea, you just keep making the tea. It's not like a tea bag, like you're throwing it away. This is like a white reishi here. This thing will last in a teapot for 2 weeks, easy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
like you're using it.
Yeah, I've got a kettle over here that's just filled all the way to the top. You can't get anything more into that kettle. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking pieces like this, like a piece of a reishi, and I'm just shoving it in there. Now, I probably should get my 16-liter teapot out. Now, this is when you get all this together. Here's a chaga, by the way. For some of you have heard about chaga mushroom. There's a chaga mushroom right there. These mushrooms are the best immunological herbs in the world, in my opinion, especially for where most of the people on Earth live. So some people are allergic to mushrooms, 1 in 1,000. You can't do medicinal mushrooms, but most of us are not. So if I had to go say what's the go-to of the best herbs in the world, I would say that right here, we're going to start with the top ranking: reishi mushroom and chaga mushroom. And you just make tea out of this, because you can eat this, sure, but it's like eating wood. I mean, it's hard to eat. So you get it the way you can get it, which is as a tea, and then as an alcohol extract. And sometimes when they're just developing, if you have a knife, you can cut them at that point, and they're soft and chewy, and you can cook them up and eat them. I've done that with reishi many times. That's a good way to do it. But this is going to give you the most immunological power. So let me lay into that for a bit, because it's a momentum-based thing. If you stay on the tree mushrooms, which are the medicinal mushrooms, they lied to you about that one too. They try to make it all confusing. Like, mushrooms toxic. It's like, no, the ones that come from trees are not toxic. They're your medicine. They're the best medicine ever. So if we're going to talk about, like, is it just a bunch of stupid trees? If you remember that line from the film Avatar, it is not just a bunch of stupid trees. It is producing incredible medicines for us that have very powerful immunological effects that build up over time. Now, I've been on this for over 20 years. There's no chance I'm going to get a cough, cold, flu, fever, respiratory infection, anything like that. Out of the question. Out of the question. You see why? Because when I'm in a public area, I'm already popped up on this stuff, and it's changed the momentum of my immune system permanently.
What do you mean?
I'm not taking that.
Yeah, what do you mean
meaning
by
that it educates your immune system. So these things come in and they're food for your white blood cells. So let's say you're producing 0 of 7 white blood cell weapons. That's usually the case, by the way. This will teach your body how to produce all immunological weapons that your immune system can produce, all 7. But that
wow.
doesn't go away over time. Actually, your body retains that intelligence. Now, that's a 10-year phenomenon. 3-year phenomenon, you're going to be like, yep, definitely my immune system's completely different than it used to be. That's 100%. I can say that for sure. But
Okay.
it starts out just getting, like, get into reishi mushroom, figure one out, get into chaga, and just get into these two, the king and
Mm.
the queen. And then just, you go from there. You develop the momentum from there. You got to start somewhere though. And you just pick a form that you can do. For me, when I'm traveling, I'm not able to do these as like I normally do. I have to go pick them fresh from the environment that I'm in. So I'll have, bottles of capsules. I'll have tinctures of all them. These are all wild mushroom tinctures right here.
Are those your brand, David?
This is Red Wolf. This is my
Oh
friend
yeah,
Red
your
Wolf.
friend. Yeah.
redwolfreturn.com. You can check them out there. So that's there. But I have my own brand of these, right? We do chaga. We've been doing chaga longer than anybody else in the world, actually, as an alcohol tincture. We've consistently had that product out there for 18 years.
One of those, I think it was the reishi, looks just like the design on your shirt, which is pretty amazing. You held it up twice, and I was like, wow, that like exactly looks like the design. It was the king and the queen one. I think it was the king that you're
Oh, yeah.
referring to.
You mean this one?
Yeah, turn it around,
Yep.
the one on
Here we
your
go.
right. That it looks just like your shirt, the little design over
See that,
there.
those flowers? Epic.
No, the other one, the one in your right
This one.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
You
the
can
other
see
one.
it. It's got the cross hatching like that.
Yeah, and then the other one, look, it looks like the flower, like half of it. It's so, oh, they're so beautiful. Okay, so now I'm thinking about for people, right? That one in your hand that you just, the second one you put down. I'm thinking about for people who don't like grow them on their own or whatever, right? Of course, we might get to that point, but you have products, you have superfood tonics
Oh,
and different powders as
we
well.
did it all for you. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
So how
Yeah.
can
So,
people get started on those?
okay, well, let's say you're doing a protein powder. Our super mushroom protein has the medicinal mushrooms in it and the hemp protein and the lucuma. It has all the delivery systems and no sugar, and it's just all organic. That's a big one. Another big one. Those are, that right there is our charcoals and salts and stuff like that. There's our C60 there in the corner. These are incredible detoxifiers right across that top line, by the way, right
Yeah,
across that line. Salt is a very, very critical and important detoxifier.
it
That's where we
is.
got to do the salt switch. You got to get off that toxic salt, get on the right stuff. But the one I want to show you is if you go to the mushrooms, just go to the medicinal mushrooms, search that. We have a whole line of medicinal mushroom products. That's, yeah, just go mushrooms. There you go. Super mushroom protein. We'll hit that one. Okay, here we go. Okay,
Oh,
see that one on the left there? That's like, basically becoming our number one seller, because it's like people generally, the human race has to have a high protein diet as compared to fat and carbohydrates. That's just the public. That's how it is. I'm a
Mhm.
high fat, moderate carb, low protein person. I'm unusual, very strange in that way. But you can see here, this is the type of thing that does it all for you. So you get this in at least once a day, right? You got let's say you do coconut water. That will go great with coconut water, nothing else. Just those two together is perfect.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
really nice. And then you get your protein hit, but you're also getting gradually that medicinal mushroom hit. The mushroom blend is a product I did with Dr. Group. That's 9 different medicinal mushrooms. Our super mushroom protein's 4, which is a lot, including reishi, the great ones. But this one's 9. So when you get a little more sophisticated, you go to here, right? And that would be, this is delicious flavor, by the way. Everyone I know who is onto this product, they use this as a base for like dips and sauces, actually, because it fills that space. Like, it just gives it body to, like, you want to dip in sauce. You don't want something that's, watery. It has to have some body to it. And you don't want it to be all like avocado or something that's real fatty. So this is kind of in that middle place. It's polysaccharides, which are
Awesome.
long chain sugars. And
Yeah.
then if you go down there on the right side, you see that's our Chaga mushroom tincture right there on the right. Bring it back up again. Yeah, that one in that corner. That one right there has been, 18, 19 years I've had that product out. Nobody
Wow.
has it down like I got it. I'm a hunter. I wrote the book on the subject.
And you add that to water or anything?
It's great to, like, look, I'm an old school partier in the sense of like, we're going to this rave all night. I'll bring one of those and just drink the whole thing. That's what I drink. That's what I have all night.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear different people talking about different dosages too, like how much you do, how much you don't do. One thing I learned many, many years ago when I started talking about superfoods and developed what I call my metabolic mocha, there was about, I think at that point, 6 different types of mushrooms. Then it had protein powder, it had the healthy fats, coconut oil. And because I was mainly at that point only helping women. And so when I talk about mushrooms, I'm like, you guys want to know what's going on with your hormones. First of all, you got to detox the xenoestrogens, like the plastics, the parabens, the pesticides, the phthalates, the processed foods. You got to get rid of those things and you got to detox them out. So get them out of your diet, get them out of your environment, detoxing them from your body. And the next thing is you want to start, instead of like draining your body and taxing your adrenals with cortisol and adrenaline with coffee, let's do something else. Let's create a different formula. And mushrooms are adaptogenic. So I would love to speak on hormones real fast before we end it with peptides, how these mushrooms can really support people in general, not just women, with their hormones.
Okay, great. So Agaricus bisporus, just the common button mushroom, has very powerful anti-estrogen effects, by the way. Just a simple button mushroom. Now, I've noticed that with the alcohol tinctures of chaga, reishi, and especially the other ones, they have very powerful anti-estrogen effects that aren't the same as drinking it. I just want to put that out there because I've been recently thinking that one through. I've been like, yep, because I've been doing so many different alcohol tinctures of these wild mushrooms, all these ones I just showed you, all these that we made. So I'm trying to go, okay, this one. So I've found that the medicinal mushrooms in alcohol have a more pronounced anti-estrogen effect. There is an anti-estrogen effect of medicinal mushrooms in general. If I wanted to go strong, the strongest stuff I've got, I would say, okay, you're going to go to something like nettle root, or you're going to go to something like hops pollen in alcohol, which is very difficult to get into alcohol. So I've got it here, and every time I shake it up, and it's been sitting in there for years, but eventually it does come into the alcohol. If you take a shot of that, very powerful anti-estrogen effects. That's xanthohumol and hops, which is it's a particular product we make here because we grow hops here. And it's just a thing that's only my friends and family ever get it because it's never made it. We never marketed it as a product, but just want to put that out there because you know this stuff. I want to just get the best stuff out there. Passion flower in alcohol also has very powerful anti-estrogenic effects.
Oh, God. And I've got to cover this too, because a lot of people think, oh, well, anti-estrogen, well, I need estrogen when I'm in menopause. It's like, here's the thing, it's not just about estrogen. All estrogen is bad. We have to stop blanket statementing everything.
Yeah.
Like all peptides are bad or estrogen's bad. It's not that. Everything's on a spectrum.
It's excess estrogen. And these things are very good at removing the excess. They're known to do that. They have a history of doing that. And so you always have your own healthy metabolism, but these things do not affect that. They ramp it up. Actually, if I had to say anything about medicinal mushrooms, they are a true adaptogen, true as it gets.
And so many people I talk to have cortisol dysregulation or like too much cortisol or not enough cortisol. And they have terrible stress resilience. And they think it's just about, well, maybe I need to just get on HRT.
They never ate anything immunological in their whole life. Most people haven't. Look at this right here. If I put this up here, the amount of people who've actually consumed the teas, alcohol extracts, or products with this stuff in it is pretty much 0%. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm on this stuff every day, and I've been on this stuff for years, I can tell you from experience how I used to be and how I am now. My immune system is not in any way related at all to what it used to be. There's no chance, 0% chance. Like when I can feel it, I'm in a public place, I'm in airports, I'm in a plane for 10 hours. There's an affront on my immune system. I know how to deal with it. My body knows how to deal with it. Of course, I'm doing all the right things while I'm on the flight. But I'm not going to get sick. There's no chance that's happening, actually.
David's talking about so much what I had a dream a while ago, and I woke up with the words zero immunity. Like that is our main concern.
That's what we're facing. That's what we're facing. You nailed it. That's what we're facing.
It's not just weight loss. I mean, of course, like the excess weight means your body is toxic and inflamed. Sure, you got to get that off, but GLPs should not be the focus. Like truly building your immune system should be. So I want to end on peptides because the argument that I hear a lot of people say is you don't need peptides, you just eat nature. And I'm like, I wish that was enough. Believe me. I mean, believe me, I wish. But a lot of people are not living in a world, in a city, an environment that substantiates that. Like, unless you're living like David, maybe you wouldn't need peptides as much, but David's doing peptides too. So I'll throw in my 2 cents and then you can let me know what you're doing. When I think about this, and we did this for my podcast a while ago and then talked about it on yours, thymosin alpha 1 is a huge one to start building your immune system, the thymus gland that shrinks by about up to 80% by the time you're age 50. So our immune system is struggling. And then KPV to turn down inflammation, LL37 is like a powerful, speaking of biofilm disruptor. There are several other ones I could speak to, but those 3 are the best for the immune system that I could think of. What would you like to add to that too, David? Because I know you're on peptides as well.
I love thymosin alpha. That's one of my favorite ones.
Me too.
I will always preferentially get that, especially if I'm on like a long fast or been traveling and I get to Orange County where I have a doctor there and she'll inject me with thymosin alpha when we're doing ozone and all the other stuff. I'd go in there for everything. She's the one who does the stem cells for me and stuff. And it's just fantastic. It's absolutely epic. See, a lot of this peptide stuff, people are like, no, peptide's bad. It's like, well, it depends on what your goals are. It's like, look, I injured my knee badly and I know what that injury requires. It's a 3-year process. I don't have 3 years. Sorry.
Right.
I want to set up. So it just, you can't just make blanket statements. I know Dr. Group and Dr. Artist now making blanket statements like peptide's bad. It's like, it depends on what your goals are. Right. My goal is I want accelerated healing. I got stuff to do. I want to be back on skis here pretty soon. It's like, there's a lot of different things that go on with people. Some people have a real bad immunological problems, and thymosin alpha would just knock that right out real quick. It's one of the best first moves you can make. And then again, when you're doing the urine therapy, so it's recycling back in, so you're getting more use out of those peptides. Watch out, baby. Telling you, it's more effective. So when I hear that kind of stuff, it's like, it's the normal pushback, that you get from the internet, but it's also, we're not considering the context.
Right. Of where my, I mean, and I've seen people, and as we wrap up, I've seen people who they have truly tried everything, like 10, 15 years. And we're seeing miracles happen with these people. And a lot of the influencers now saying, oh, they're all coming from the same place. They're all coming from, Bill Gates, and they're all coming from Eli Lilly. Like, no, but we have to stop blanket statementing everything where it's this or that. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. So it's get good sourcing that has proper COA, certificate of analysis, that is actually doing testing on every vial, not just one batch and one drop from one batch. This is why the people that I work with and like Limitless, we have regular conversations, because I care about purity. And if you're going to get it from the most pure source and from a company that you can trust. And so when we're talking about superfoods and peptides, if you're doing those things and you're in therapy, I feel like, especially with Lyme and the possible incidence of Lyme, because it's like 1 out of 6 ticks or 5, I can't remember, is possibly has some kind of disease that you can get, Babesia, Bartonella, a lot of different types of diseases. And now they're,
I want to add on to that as we close down for this hour here is one of the things that we found. So I was in upstate New York recently, obviously big tick year up there. We were out in the bush. And so, a friend of mine got a tick on him. I got a tick on me. And this tick had actually bit him, but did not attach. It did not attach. It bit him and went, nope, and backed off. Now, one of the things that's interesting about him is that's Red Wolf, by the way. So he's, we're dosing these things up nonstop all day long. So we're loaded in medicinal mushrooms. But I'll tell you something interesting is he is a heavy, heavy nicotine tobacco user. And I'm sure that tick bit into him and went, nope, no, not I'm out of here, and took off because that guy's loaded with nicotine, and nicotine is a very powerful insecticide. That's the word.
Anti-parasite. It's one of the most. Yeah. Yep. It's so, I think really it's like arming ourselves against biological parasites and also political parasites. And then also emotional and mental parasites in our relationships. It's totally all the same. So I think that's a great way to end. You guys, what we're going to do is, like I mentioned earlier, couple calls to action is, if you want to join us after this, we're going to go into just a few things that you guys can get started, like getting started basics with all these things with David in our VIP group. That's DianeKaiser.com/VIP. If you're not in there, it's $1 for the first week. The other one is the superfoods that we talked about, which is share David's link. I can't remember what the link is. And then you guys will get 10% off Superfoods. That's dianekaiser.com. I can't see it, /David.
Yeah, /David. And just type in on the checkout, Kaiser, Kazer, and you'll get your 10% off from my shop. So just make sure we put that discount in because you want that 10%. It's a really epic thing that we're doing. And by the way, my business is 100% family run. We have nothing to do with any of the other, whatever that is. We are a family run operation. And so that's really nice. It's just a few families and we are all tight. So it's a beautiful thing.
I could say the same thing for our ministry. I mean, I wouldn't say that all of them are family, but they feel like family. So it's beautiful that we do it like that. It's important to create from a heart-centered space too. So thanks, David. And then also the last thing is we talked about peptides. So if you guys want more information on that, it's dianekaiser.com/peptides. For a while now, I mean, they're changing the whole regulation, something I have to stay on top of too. But if you guys want free downloads or the $17 bundle, Peptide Power Course, how to get started on those, that's there. And then we are having our root cause reset that starts very soon in June, the first week of June. So that's dianekaiser.com/RCR to find out what toxins are coming out of you and what to do about it. Then you can come back to this episode and start applying these things, because the more you know, the more you can grow your immunity, that is. Okay, you guys, we're going to hop into the VIP group. We'll see you over there so you can learn about how to get started with urine therapy and these mushrooms, realistic applications that you could get started on now. Thanks, David, for being here. Love you so much.
Thank you. Have the best day ever.
Yes, do it, you guys. Do it.